What's going on? I'm Ricky Riley, and today we're going to do something kind of fun. We're going to take this Peavey Classic Chorus 212, and we're going to give it a little bit of love, because I think it deserves it. This amp sounds phenomenal. Everything on it works. It's just old, kind of dirty, and it does have some scratchy pots if you listen. So that's no good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk you through everything that I like to do with these old amps to get them looking like they just came off the factory floor. Before I do that, though, just know I am going to take this amp apart. If you've never done that before, you might want to reconsider doing it, because there are dangerous voltages inside of this amp that can be lethal. So if you don't know what you're doing, I would recommend that you just have a tech look at the actual amp. If you want to maybe clean your amp up, I suppose you could do some of that, but just be very, very cautious and do not take an amp apart if you don't know what you're doing. So with that said, let's get into it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is take pretty much the whole amp apart so I can get at everything and clean it. All I'm going to need is this handy dandy drill. If you don't have a drill, go get one. First thing that's coming off of this amp is going to be all the knobs, and they can be quite difficult sometimes to just pull off with your hands. So I like to use some specialist equipment. This fork has a nice little bend to it, so you can kind of get it behind the knob and just kind of slowly work it around and pry that knob off. Once I get them all off, I'll put them in this little bowl, get some soapy water, and clean them up. All right, so now I just go through with that fork and take each one of the knobs off, and most of them come off pretty easy, but there were one or two that were really, really close to the faceplate, so they were kind of difficult, and I had to think creatively to get it to happen, but we eventually got there. And then I took the back plate off and then removed the amp from the cabinet. There's just 4 screws at the top. You take those out, pull the whole thing down, and then we just get it in a decent position to get at those pots to clean them out. All right, we've got the chassis out of the cabinet now, and I'm going to use this non-conductive wooden chopstick to kind of show you. These are the bad boys that you probably don't want to touch. Those have some lethal voltage in them if you don't discharge them. So do not touch those in your amp. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into these pots, though, with this contact cleaner. This is the WD-40 brand. Do not spray WD-40 lubricant into your pots. Make sure that it's contact cleaner. Deoxit is another brand that you can use. This is just the one that I have. So I'm going to get a nice close-up spraying into this little hole here, and then we're going to work the pots back and forth to kind of get it in there so it cleans it out. All right, so if you look at the pot, you'll see an itty-bitty hole right at the top. That's where we're going to aim our contact cleaner. We're going to spray it in that hole and then work the pot back and forth to get the cleaner in there. So this first one we'll do together, and then we'll time-lapse the rest. So I'll just spray a little bit in, work the pot back and forth a little bit. I might spray it again. Work it again. And you can feel when it starts to work, the pot will kind of move a little bit more freely, and that's when you know it worked. All right, let's do the rest of them. So now we're just going to go one pot at a time, spray it in the hole, work it around, very zen. I'm also going to spray the switches, so I'm spraying some in those little yellow things. Those are the switches to change the channel and turn the bright switch on and off. If you just spray them in there and work the button back and forth, it cleans it in the same way. And I just go through each one once, and I actually come back around to the clean channels volume, because that one was particularly scratchy. All right, I squirted them up real good, and that was pretty much the only issue that the amp had, so I'm going to put the guts back in so we can get out of the danger zone. This can be way more difficult than you think it's going to be. To get all the fasteners to line up with the holes can take some creative wiggling around. I ended up having to take the grill cloth right off to get it in the right position, but eventually we got there, got all the screws back in, and it was good to go. The amp's back in, and now I'm just going to go in and clean all the decades of old scuzziness out of here. It's not glamorous, but we got to do it if we want this thing to sparkle, bro. I'm sure someone's going to bring to my attention that you're not supposed to use wet cleaning inside the amp, but I'm wringing the daylights out of that cloth until it's just damp enough to get the dirt out. That's it. Don't worry. All right, the inside's looking pretty good, so now we're going to get the outside. I took the handle off so I could get every nook and cranny, so we'll get it all cleaned up, and then we'll hit it with my secret weapon. Same stuff on the outside, man. Clean it up. Hopefully there's another weirdo like me out there in the world who finds this oddly satisfying, because I really like it. All right, so we gave the whole thing a bath, and now the majority of the dirt is gone, and it's time for the secret weapon. This Zepp leather conditioner works so well on the tolex to make it shine. I know it's not actually leather, but it works really well. I hit it with this toothbrush to get in all the nooks and crannies, and it works great. Let's go. Listen, I understand that there are probably going to be a bunch of people who say, this man is a psychopath. He's brushing a guitar amplifier as if it had teeth with a toothbrush. I'm telling you though, this is really the most important part to get it looking really, really nice. And I don't care how crazy I look. It's very satisfying to me. All right, the tolex is sparkling clean. Looks so good. All we have left to do now is clean the faceplate, clean the knobs, and clean the grill cloth. So let's do it. Nothing crazy here, just soap and water with a dishcloth, getting all the finger schmutz from the decades off of this thing. This part, for whatever reason, makes me feel like it's officially my amp. And then I just put all the nice clean knobs back on one at a time, get them on there, and this thing's looking like, whew, pretty good. All right, the last thing I got to do is clean off this grill cloth. You can definitely tell somebody spilled something on it at some point. Probably a beer at a rock club in the 80s, I'm assuming. But I'm just going to use this Resolve carpet cleaner and get it so fresh. So the psychopath's secret weapon makes another appearance here. I'm just spraying down both sides of the grill cloth with that Resolve and then brushing it really well. A lot of it's coming out onto that towel, so I just brush, and then I kind of wipe away the excess with the towel until it's looking nice and clean. And then, boom, the nice clean grill cloth goes back on the amp. Looking good. All right, that's it. We got this thing all clean. It's looking like it just came off the factory floor, but we have one last test we got to do. We'll turn it on and check the pots to see if we fixed them. Oh yeah, so smooth, no noise, no scratchiness. Expect a review of this amp very soon. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.